So we're having this, there's a really big debate going on, right? That we can't seem to being able to define what a woman is. And there was an exchange today, and I'm not sure exactly what it was in regards to, but Senator Josh Hawley and a Berkeley law professor by the name of Khiara Bridges had an interesting back and forth regarding what a woman is. There was also an exchange. Basically the exchange, what it came down to was the law professor was saying that Josh Hawley was being transphobic and was inciting violence with his language. And again, this is, there's a big debate to be had, or a big discussion. There's not a debate. There's a big discussion to be had surrounding trans people and all that. And that's not something I want to get into. Let me just play this clip for you, because it's really telling as to the direction we're going in as far as like academia goes. It's really telling, and it's scary. It's very scary. So please watch this, how this whole thing plays out.
Mr. Bridges, you said several times, you've used a phrase, I want to make sure I understand what you mean by it. You've referred to people with a capacity for pregnancy. And that's
the first thing, right? People with the capacity for pregnancy. This is where language, this is why they're trying to change language, and it's not good. Women have children. Yes, like I don't understand the disconnect of, like, even if you're a trans man, like you're like biologically you're still a woman, and you have that capacity to have children. It is what it is. It's not, this argument that we're being violent or we're being transphobic in our language. It's like these people just, like, it's hard to wrap your head around. I understand that not all politicians are smart and they don't ask the best questions, but this whole thing just really blew my mind.
Would that be women?
Many women, cis women, have the capacity for pregnancy. Many cis women do not have the capacity for pregnancy.
See, and that's the semantics they play, right? Well, many don't have the capacity for cis women. Many cis women do not have the capacity for pregnancy, which they're saying they're born with the organs to have children, but are unable to have children. That doesn't make them not a woman. We all know this. The organs are there. They're meant to. And for as long as humans have been around, or mammals have been around, this has just been the truth. But they, like, again, it's a semantic game with them.
There are also trans men who are capable of pregnancy, as well as non-binary people who are capable of pregnancy.
But those are also called, they're also called women at the end of the day. It's okay if you want to identify as non-binary. It's okay if you want to be, if you're a trans man or trans woman, it doesn't matter. You're still, like, you were born as this, and that gives you the capacity to have a child. There's nothing wrong and violent about that. But crazy eyes. We do this. Here we go. Sorry.
Pregnancy.
So this isn't really a women's rights issue.
We can recognize that this impacts women while also recognizing that it impacts other groups. Those things are not mutually exclusive, Senator Hawley.
Oh, so your view is that the core of this right then is about what?
So I want to recognize that your line of questioning is transphobic.
It's not transphobic. It's not. Like, this is, again, Trey 50 Daniel said it's weaponized language. Yes, absolutely. Beautifully put. This is how they get away with the stuff that they get away with. They claim that this is harmful and it's transphobic. So immediately there's nothing we can do, right? You label something transphobic and the normie immediately says that's awful and bad. No way. Hawley is transphobic. No, that's just absolutely not true. Just because you speak something into existence does not make it so.
And it opens up trans people to violence by not recognizing them.
Wow, you're saying that I'm opening up people to violence by asking whether or not women are the folks who can have pregnancies?
So I want to note that 1 out of 5 transgender persons have attempted suicide.
Okay, That's fair, and that's awful, and nobody wants anyone to commit suicide, right? No one here wants that to happen. Can we go through the statistics of how many men do it, how many young girls, like high school, college age girls that attempt suicide? Like these are all big numbers. I don't have those numbers in front of me, but it's a fair thing to point out. Like, I know it's high. I know that they're dealing with many different things at once, but god damn, like, and the thing is too, and the funny thing is too, and I think Trey just kind of said it, but language can enable violence. See how much it happened in 2020. So like that like, so you think of it from the other side. How many times did the Democrats stand up in front of their crowds and say, go out and do your worst, make them, like, what was it? What the hell is her name? That old bag. What's her name? Maxine Waters. That's who it was. People like her stood up in front of everyone and told them to actually go out and be violent. And those people did. 2020 was crazy. They burned cities to the ground. There's a newscast of a guy standing in front of a microphone. No shit. Everyone's seen this. And if you haven't seen it, you need to go look it up. A guy standing in front of a burning, like, department store going, these are mostly peaceful protests. What? There's a whole, like, department store on fire behind you. Mostly peaceful. Holy crap. We gotta listen to the rest of this because it's nuts. They kind of like go at each other. It's funny.
So I think it's important
because of my line of questioning. So we can't talk about it
because denying that trans people exist.
No one is denying it. What is this shit? Why do people do this? No one's denying anything. But there's something that people, they want to erase, like, what is actually going on. We can't actually say women. We can say men, but we couldn't possibly say women or say that women birth children. Like, this is weird. This is coming from a Berkeley law professor. And what he says next is pretty great.
And pretending not to know that they exist.
I'm denying that trans people exist by asking you if you're talking about women having pregnancies.
Do you believe that men can get pregnant?
No, I don't think men can get pregnant.
So you're denying?
No. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with saying that you don't believe that men can get men, as we know men in biology, cannot get pregnant. Trans men can get pregnant. There's a huge difference. And again, and this is the other thing that really pisses me off. They refuse to make the distinction between men and trans men. It drives me insane. And it's done. It must be done because they're trying to keep this as a wedge issue, right? They're trying to keep people divided on this. And there's absolutely no reason to do it. No reason.
That trans people exist.
And that leads to violence. Is this how you run your classroom? Are students allowed to question you?
Absolutely.
Or are they also treated like this, where
No,
they're told that they're opening up people to violence?
We have a good time in my class. You should join.
I bet.
You might learn a lot.
Wow, I would learn a lot.
See, and this is where the conversation breaks down because Hawley is exactly right here. Hawley is 100% right. Is this how you conduct yourself in your classroom? Because the problem is that if you cannot have the discussion of saying, okay, I disagree with what you're saying. I would like to, like, I disagree with, again, the semantic argument that men can get pregnant. Trans men can get pregnant. Right. So Trey 50 says they don't make the distinction because it's a way to hold over the head of conservatives. So this is why I say it's a wedge issue, because they want to always use it as a way to be divisive. They won't actually, like, do what they're supposed to do. They will just, they'll keep it controversial and they won't distinguish. And that's a problem. Codenomic says, if you want to say trans men can have children, I will say okay, knowing that trans men have vaginas but not men. Right. Again, make the distinction, make your arguments clear. They're intentionally being ambiguous here. And I can't figure out completely why. Just nuts, man. So nuts. This is the stuff. This is why like it's important to talk about these things. No one is denying the existence of trans people, even a little bit. At least that I've seen. No one's, denying that.